So we're going to have a day to, or an evening to let go, relax. And so your props are going to come in handy. And then we can hang out inside of our postures and let whatever we need to let go of, we're going to let go of it. I'd like to start in seated, sitting tall with ankles crossed. And give yourself a little bit of a wiggle, some, head motion, side to side, some circles, some shaking out. Maybe eventually let the shoulders move around, wiggle them out. And then see if you can begin to send your weight back into the sitting bones. So it almost feels like you're about to rest on something behind you, the whole back of the head. And then lift up through the whole spine. And let's see if we can bring a visualization in while we're here. So we're sitting up really tall. Now, in the mental image of like a warm bucket of water being poured onto your head, and that is going to come all the way down and cover up your whole body. Let the next few breaths, especially on that exhalation, be paired with a mental image of that warm, soothing bucket of water, something you're welcoming. So maybe it's like a sprinkling of water, whatever feels comfortable to you. And then just letting that, as you exhale, wash down from the crown of the head, down through the whole body. And you can start to sense a sense of releasing into the pouring out of this water. And so again, breathing in. And then on the exhalation, letting it wash over the whole body, feeling now even more relaxed than before. And again. And let's keep this image going a little longer actually. And if you'd like, you can bring in clearing breaths as you're exhaling out through the mouth. Feeling the cleansing nature of that water that you're holding in your mind. Purifying you from any stresses and pressures and tensions that you're still holding on to, washing all of those away with the cleansing properties of water. And then returning to just a natural breath. Feeling the after effects of that visualization paired with your breath. And let's realize that even though that was a visualization, something we conjured up in the mind, that a clear change has occurred. And that is how powerful the mind is. Clearly demonstrating the power of your mind, and especially when we pair it with our breath, with the life force that dwells in you, as well as me, and all other living beings. Let's bow to each other, bringing palms together in our hearts, saying Namaste. And then once you rise, we're going to start to work with the body. So in a more active sense, using the body. So we're going to sit up tall, and if you're struggling to keep the knees down while you're seated, then you're going to want to prop the hips up on a blanket or a couple blocks, or even one block. And then we'll be bringing the soles of the feet together, bringing hands to the feet, and then leaning forward a little bit so we can get elbows towards the thighs, or maybe we can go as forward as getting elbows towards the knees. And now we're going to create some activation of the legs so that we can release tension in the hamstrings in particular and the hips. So on the inhalation, start to push the arms and the legs into each other. And on the exhalation, let go completely of any control in the legs. So you'll see that the trunk will lower a little bit. And then inhale, press arms and legs into each other. Exhale, release the legs, release any effort in the arms. Now the effort in the arms will allow to continue so we can help the hamstrings. So let's inhale, bring pressure between hands and legs. And then exhale, press the legs down with the arms. Okay, so that being the focus. Inhaling, bringing pressure both ways. And then exhaling, releasing the legs down, sending them down with the elbows. Inhaling again, activating. Exhaling, sending the legs down. Now we'll go one more time. Inhaling, pressing in. And then exhaling, sending the legs down. And now we'll start to lower the head down enough so that we're looking towards the feet. So we haven't let go completely of the neck. Right, so we're still putting effort in the neck and trying to keep the head lifted against gravity. And if you can sense what it's like to be kind of engaged here in some ways and not engaged in other ways, most of the time this is how we are. But now we want to see if we can actually let go. So now begin to release the head. And then sense the arms. Maybe the arms are still putting in some effort. Start to release the pressure of the elbows into the legs. And begin to put the arms in a position where you no longer need to consider them. So maybe you bring the forearms to the mat if they get there, with the elbows released, releasing in the head. Releasing in the upper back, the middle back, the lower back, the hip joints, the legs, feet, shoulders, hands, and the head. Probably can let go of the head a little bit more. This is a good place to bring in another visualization, and if you want to continue what we started with maybe some warm water sprinkling down onto your body, maybe go with that. Or if there's something else that feels good, maybe another thing I like to create in my mind is finding tension, maybe pockets of tension throughout my body. And then letting them materialize in terms of like little beads. They could be beads of water or little pebbles. And then watching them roll down the back, roll down the back of the head, roll down the arms, roll down the legs. Seeing them move away from my body and your body. Seeing that tension move away. And then maybe even seeing that go down into the mat and then just disintegrating or being absorbed by the mat and its healing powers. Whatever it is, be creative in your visualization. So we'll give this a couple minutes of silence as you use the power of your mind. Let's give this about 5 more breaths. And we're going to start to rise up nice and slowly. You can use the hands. So see how you want to get here. Maybe use the strength of the arms to roll yourself up, roll the trunk up. And then once the head rises, pause here for a moment, just sensing the effects of that posture now that your spine is risen. And we'll take a clearing breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Now we're going to come to a twist from here, and if this twist is uncomfortable for you and doesn't work for your body, you're going to alter it in a way that works for you. So let's close the legs using the hands, drawing the knees to center, and then take the feet over to the left. So you can stay on your blanket if you have a lot of tightness that you're working with, and if you are not dealing with that, then without the blanket. Either way, we're going to be working the right heel towards the back of the left thigh as high as you can get it, so that maybe you get it to the sitting bone. A little harder when you have a blanket underneath, but just see, what works. So essentially, the feet are not one on top of the other, but maybe your right toes are touching your left foot. And then we'll sit up really tall. And then turn to the right by taking left hand to right knee, right hand behind. Lift up, and before you twist, take this right shoulder and circle it a few times. So we're just kind of semi-twisted. And then take that shoulder back, lower it down. Feel the shoulder blade draw into the back. It's really going to make a big difference if you keep it drawn inwardly. Then lift the head and draw the chin in slightly towards the chest. Not towards the chest, slightly inwardly, right? So the chin comes towards the neck. And then begin to turn to the right. Keep pulling the right shoulder blade in towards the back. Keep twisting, especially on the exhalation. It's on the exhalation where we have more room to turn as we empty the lungs. About 2 more breaths. Preventing any feeling that any part of the body is getting locked up. So if you feel something getting locked up, then pull out of it, move it around a little, and then draw back into the posture. See how that helps. And then we'll start to come to center. Let's take a little counter twist to the left. So we'll just take right hand to somewhere on this left leg, left hand behind, getting tall, and then turning in the other direction just for a moment before we go deeper into this side. And then we'll come to center and switch sides. So we'll take feet over to the right, setting up the feet so that your left heel is close to the right sitting bone, right foot out to the right. And again, if this doesn't feel right, find a twist, seated twist that does work for your body. Then when you're ready, we'll start to twist to the left, just about halfway. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind, fingers down on the mat. And then lifting the spine up, take the left shoulder and circle it around. And then we'll take that shoulder back and down, and now we're drawing it into the back. Now draw the chin in slightly. So the tendency is for our chins to go forward, and then our necks get shaped irregularly. So we want to pull the chin slightly in, lift the crown of the head up, and then begin to twist to the left. Finding the space on the exhalation to twist a little deeper. Paying very close attention, so if anything becomes frozen or locked up, move around in that part of the body and then come back in. About 2 more deep breaths. We're going to come to center. Twist over to the right. Take the left hand to the right leg, right hand behind, turning the head to the right. And we'll come back to center. Let's come to hands and knees. You can move your blanket if you were on it, or you can bring it underneath the knees to cushion them. Once you're here, we'll find some motion in cat-cow. So inhaling, belly sinks, head, tailbone lift. Exhaling, belly engaging, head, tailbone down, but really pull the belly up at the bottom of the exhale. This is where the strengthening occurs. Flowing at the pace of your even breath, evenly controlled. So maybe you're in that victorious breath. And then if you aren't practicing Ujjayi pranayama right now, let's go there so that on the next inhalation, you're lifting the head and the tailbone, taking a breath in through the nose. It's a long, drawn-out inhale. And then on the exhale, long, drawn-out exhale through the mouth, like you're fogging a mirror. Mouth staying open, fogging inwardly as you sink the belly. Closing the mouth, exhaling through the nostrils. Picking the belly up, keeping the lips sealed. And then continuing a few more of these. Helping create space in the spine, giving a little warmth to the belly, neutralizing the hips and the pelvis, taking pressure off the low back, and overall energizing the body. Okay, one more. And then we'll be coming to Cow posture with the belly sunken. Separate the knees a bit, just an inch or two, and then take the hands forward, keeping the hips where they are, up over the knees essentially. You know, they're not exactly stacked. And then we'll bring the forehead down to the mat, send the hands forward. Keep the forearms lifted. If you want to see what it's like to bring the forearms down, that it always helps. See, what is it like if the forearms down? And then see if you send the arms forward and find length in the arms with the forearms lifted, the palms down, how that changes things. The forehead on the mat, or if it's hard to get it there with the forearms up, the forehead is elevated on a block or some blankets. Now here we want to focus on the lengthening between, we'll say, the wrists and the tailbone. So sending the hands forward and sending the tailbone back without pulling the belly up into the spine. So the belly is relaxed and we're finding lots of extension and length in the waist. Lengthen the side bodies. So connecting your mind to right underneath the shoulder and the side body, all the way down to the waist, up through the arms, back down through the waist, up through the head and the neck, and then all the way to the tailbone, sending the tailbone a little further. And then as you take the next few exhalations, focusing on taking the heart center towards the mat. This heart chakra posture, Anahatasana. Opening in the chest, making space for oxygen and blood flow. Another breath or two. Now let's relax the arms, bring the elbows down. You can walk them in a little bit. That was a lot of extension in the arms. Once you have the forearms down, bring your weight forward into the elbows and then begin to send one hip down and then the other hip down so you're lying on the belly. So we're going to come all the way down and we could just bring the forehead to the mat and then have the hands draw inwards towards so they're as close to under the shoulders as they can be, with the elbows in towards the waist. So actually squeeze those elbows into the waist. Now relax the legs completely. Let the heels drop to the sides when you relax the legs. Just naturally what happens. Then bring the heels together. Okay, now begin to activate the legs. So we're not going to rise quite yet, but we're just going to focus on activating the calves and the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the glutes. And now relax the glutes, the thighs, the calves, lower legs, and then let the heels drop to the sides. Now let's do this again. Bring the heels together and feeling now the calves, the lower legs activate, the knees activate, the thighs activate, the glutes activate. And really squeeze the heels towards each other to help this. And then relax through the glutes, the thighs, knees, lower legs, feet. We'll do this one more time. Activating feet, lower legs, knees, thighs, glutes. Relaxing glutes, thighs, knees, lower legs, feet. Deep breath in and out. Now we're going to do that again, but this time, so once you activate feet, lower legs, knees, thighs, glutes, now begin to lift the head and the arms. So letting the palms hover as you start to lift the head enough and look forward past the mat, squeezing the shoulders back. Take 5 deep breaths. Keep the lower body engaged. And we're going to release all the way down, but we can bring the forearms forward and then send the right knee over to the right. So it's going to come off of the mat and you'll be bending the right leg and relaxing the right bent leg over to the right as maybe the head turns to the left or to the right, just resting one side of the face on the mat or on the hands and letting this right leg soften and relax. Let the left leg also get heavy and relaxed. Maybe you bring a visualization in. Letting all the tension and stresses wash away. Now we're going to lift that knee a little higher. See how high up you can get the knee. So maybe it can be almost in line with the right hip. A couple more deep breaths. And start to release this right leg, straightening it up on the mat, letting both of the legs come together. And then we'll take the left knee over to the left. So the first time we're here, we're not necessarily that high up, but if you'd like to start high up, you can. Now putting your mental effort in relaxing the left leg. So letting that left leg exist effortlessly. And again, with the right leg, letting the right leg exist effortlessly. And then we'll take this left knee and take it up as high as we can. So there's going to be a little bit more effort here once we get it up there, but then see to relaxing it as best as you can. And 2 more deep breaths. And we'll bring this left leg back onto the mat to meet the right leg. Now let's press our way up right into a child's posture. So you can bring the forearms down, push into the elbows, and begin to take the hips back. Maybe bring the knees forward a little bit. Separate the knees, lower all the way down. Now we're going to rise up to table posture, hands and knees, and bring the knees underneath the hips. Wrists are under the shoulders. On the next inhalation, lift the right arm up towards the sky. And on the exhalation, bring the hand back down to the mat. On the inhalation, lift the left arm up. Exhale the left hand down. Now we're going to continue doing this. Inhaling, arm up. Exhaling, arm down. Moving at the pace of your breath, not rushing to get to any one point. Visiting every point completely. Now one more time with the left arm. And then we'll thread the needle by taking the right arm up, threading right arm underneath left, coming down to the right side of the face, using blocks if needed. Separating the knees a little bit further from each other if needed. Really, if you feel any tension building up in the legs, then definitely separate those knees. And then straighten up the right arm. Feel those fingers move away from the right shoulder. You stretch them forward, and then pull the right shoulder back. Pulling right shoulder back, arm stays straight. Takes a little bit more effort to be here than totally letting go into this. But then we'll be releasing more tension behind that right shoulder blade. So take one more deep breath. Left palm down, pressing into the hand. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale the right hand down, but what we're going to do is shift the right hand so the fingers in the right hand are facing back. And we're just going to focus on stretching the right wrist and forearm. So left fingers face forward, right fingers face back. Take about 3 deep breaths. If you need a little bit more, if you're very flexible in the wrist, then take the hips back. Keeping the palm planted completely. And release by bringing the weight into the left hand. Undo the right hand, lift it up, take the right arm upwards, send this hand in some circles. Make sure you go the other way as well. And then we'll lower the right hand. Now the other side. So inhaling the left arm up. Exhale, threading left arm underneath, right? Straighten the left arm, straighten up the fingers, reaching them forward away from the shoulder, and then pull the left shoulder back. Take a few deep breaths, collecting the tension and releasing it. Making sure the inhalation is so full and complete. You get to the end of the inhalation where you feel that tension build up. And then letting that tension go on the exhalation. One more breath. Right palm is down. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, bring the hand down, but now we're going to shift the fingers to face back, pressing the palm down. Begin to sense what it's like now. See if you need a little bit more. So if you need more, start to send the hips back. About 2 more deep breaths. And we'll release this left hand, send it upwards, move it into circles. Take it the other way. Each time we're working on a certain part of the body, you really are focusing in that area, you'll notice that it feels lighter than before. So now we'll take the left hand down. And then let's come back to seated. You can cross the ankles to get there, come all the way down. And if you were on a blanket before, if you were seated on one, go ahead and sit right back on top of it. If you have blocks or blankets or pillows to bring in front of you to rest the head, go ahead and make sure those are close. We're going to come to our starting point with the feet together and the legs open but bent. This is bound angle posture, Baddha Konasana. So here we return, and we'll bring the hands back to the feet and the elbows back to the legs somewhere. And so that we could really get that release today, we're going to, with every inhalation, find that tension that we're creating, that activation, drawing the arms down, legs up, and then on the exhalation, pushing the legs down as you lower the trunk. And then inhaling, pushing in, we're going to go for 5 total. Exhaling, lowering, releasing. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. So once we've gone past that 5th one, we're going to stop putting effort into the legs, but we'll keep pushing down with the arms. And we can start to let go halfway or all the way with the head, but when we're in this more active position, it's going to be a little harder to let go of the head too. So another thing that we can do while we're here is take a hold of the feet and bring the thumbs to the base of the ball of the foot. Put pressure there. It's a good point to put some pressure and release tension in the feet, and then open the feet like a book so that they can look upwards towards the sky. It might be a little difficult, so just do your best to open them up. Now, as you're here, you might adjust, you might rise a little and then take the feet closer in towards the pelvic bone to increase the stretch around the groin. So see if that's something that works for you, or if you want to keep the feet further away. And then we're going to start to release into this. So at some point, starting to let go of the arms again, and seeing that we're in a starting point, our initial place, first position that we were in today, and seeing that there has been some progress, even if it's just barely noticeable, but it's there. It's impossible for your body to not have responded the first time you were here. So look at how it responded. And then see if you'd like to encourage the lowering of the trunk a little bit more. You might take the arms and tuck them underneath the lower legs, and then be able to pull the trunk down to help facilitate. Or if you notice the head is still something that you just can't seem to let go of and you really want to relax the neck, then bring a block to the forehead, even if you have to bring a couple, even if you have to bring the block on top of the feet. There's all kinds of ways to adjust. And now let's come back into our visualization. Maybe it's a new one, new creative visualization, or maybe you come back to the other with water or pebbles or beads forming. But finding on the exhalation a release of some tension, a release of some stress, a release of some pressure that has been building up in one way or another. Washing away, clarifying, and cleansing. Say 5 more deep breaths of simply letting go. We're going to start to rise. Use the hands to rise up. Now we're going to, again, close the knees with the hands. We're bringing the knees close together, and then we're going to situate the feet off to the left. Now I think this is a good spot for us to go in a different direction with the trunk for a moment. So we're going to take the hands and walk them back. Once you have your feet situated, walk the hands back, and maybe you can come down to the forearms. And if not, just stay up on the hands and you can bend the elbows, and then there's a wide range for you to be able to lower the trunk. Maybe you let the head come back slightly or a little bit more so that eventually it starts to feel like it's hanging. But if you have any neck issues, no worries about going that far. Now as you're here, pull the pelvis in and then relax the pelvis. Pull the pelvis in. Relax. One more breath. And then we're going to start to rise up. Use the hands to push up. Okay, now we're going to twist again to the right. So let's take left hand to right knee, right hand behind. Get nice and tall, and then turn. Turning to the right, drawing the chin in slightly. Now you can stay right here and focus on this. If a half lotus is available to you, with basically foot on top of thigh, you're going to come back to center, and you'll take the right foot and bring it on top of the left thigh. So see if that works, and if it doesn't work, no worries. And there are ways to make this work by bringing like a block underneath the right knee, things like that. But otherwise, you're staying in the twist. And then if you're able to be here, you can continue to twist with this right foot on top of left thigh. The next step would be to take the right hand behind the back and see about finding the right foot and holding that with the right hand. That's going to pull the right shoulder blade into the back even more. But if you're not there, you're still focusing on drawing that right shoulder blade in. Another deep breath. And then we'll come to center. So we're gonna, if you have the foot on top of the thigh, you're gonna bring it back underneath the left thigh. And this is a little bit more challenging for some reason, but we're gonna just see about lowering the trunk down into this. So it's very much like a pigeon, except this left leg is bent and forward. And so then just releasing down. Now, if it feels like it's better for you to take the trunk off to the right, then go ahead and do that. If you can keep it in the center, go ahead and do that. And then start to lower the head. Take a few deep breaths. And we'll start to rise up. Okay, so we're going to switch the order of the feet now. Take them over to the right. So first we're walking the hands back, maybe coming down to the forearms, letting that chest lift up, maybe the chin lift up. And then a few times we're pulling the pelvis in and relaxing, pulling in, relaxing once again. And then here for a couple deep breaths, just relaxing the pelvis. Then begin to rise. Okay, so from here we twist to the left. So right hand to left knee, left hand behind, get tall, chin comes in, turn to the left, bring that shoulder blade into the back. And then from here we're coming to center. If you're going to bring foot on top of thigh, then you'll find that next variation. And continuing to twist to the left. If it's available, takes a lot of flexibility for this, but you might just want to see how far you are, or maybe you can get there. Left hand to left foot, pulling the shoulder blade even more inward. And we'll come back to center. Okay. Once you're in the center again, bring that left foot under the hip if it wasn't already there, and then begin to fold forward, getting the trunk closer to the legs. Couple deep breaths. And we'll start to rise upwards. We're going to come to seated. We are in seated, but we're going to extend the legs forward. Once you have the legs forward, bring the right foot into the left thigh. Support the trunk with the hands next to the hips and start to move this ankle around. Taking some circles, maybe some flexion and extension. Bringing toes back and then forward. And then we'll flex the foot. Stay nice and long in the back. Take the arms upwards. And if that compromises the length in the back, then you're going to bend the knee. And then we'll start to exhale and fold forward over the left leg. There's lots of ways we can support ourselves here. So we can let go into this if you'd like and round the back and let the head go. Or you can keep the back long and try to reach heart forward towards the left foot even as you let go of the head. If you feel like you can go really deeply here, you can have a block to the foot and then holding the block and get lots of extension in the back, the arms, the left leg. If you're far from that, straps are really helpful. Now we're going to wash tension away from the back of the left leg using a creative visualization. One more breath. And we'll start to rise up. Let's switch legs. Right leg forward. Almost ready to rest. Hands supporting the trunk for now. Move the foot around. Okay, then we'll keep the foot flexed. Take the arms upwards. It's good to sit on a blanket here if you have a lot of tightness in the back and back of the leg. And then we'll go ahead and fold forward. Find a good spot for the hands. They can even stay behind the thigh. Whatever you did on the other side, same thing here to find your balance between the two legs. And then invoking that same creative visualization. Another deep breath. And we'll start to rise. Extend both of the legs. Come down to the back. Plant the feet. We're coming right into a bridge posture. So walk the shoulders back. Pull the pelvis in and then lift the hips. Continue to squeeze the shoulders back. Contracting the low back. Now maybe interlacing fingers, straightening arms, pressing down, and then releasing. Now to finish your practice, find what would work best for you in this moment. So if you feel like you need a little bit more work with the neck, which we didn't touch on today, you might rise back up and then do a little bit of work there. If you feel like you're ready to rest, maybe a quick little spinal twist. It's important to be aware of how your body is feeling so that you can respond to it and release the tension that you're holding in whatever area that is. For me, I always need to make sure I get into the neck. And then whenever you've found that you're ready, come all the way down to lying down in a comfortable position in which you can let go completely. letting the whole body become heavy and relaxed. And softening through the face, softening through the soles of the feet, softening through the jaw, softening through the toes and the heels, softening through the temples, softening through the hands, softening through the forehead, softening through the fingers and the wrists. Feeling the ankles and the legs relax. The arms relax all the way up to the shoulders. The hips and the trunk relaxing. The head fully supported by the mat and the floor and the ground beneath it. There's no need to control anything at this time. Let yourself go and rest. Before you change anything about your position or about the way you're breathing or about anything in this body, just pay attention with your mind. Notice how it feels to be in this body, how you're experiencing the body at this time. And the breath is light right now. So let the breath get heavier itself, and in that it's becoming deeper. And then slowly start to move maybe the head side to side, maybe the fingers and the toes. You can find length, arms behind, legs extended forward. Draw the knees into the chest, arms around the knees. And then when you find your way to seated, just sit up with ankles crossed and palms together, thumbs into the heart center. Just letting the head bow in. Feeling the effects of your practice. And allowing those effects to be long-lasting. We'll seal the practice with Om, breath in through the nose. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.